right.
On my camera, just to introduce Chris. Okay, well, hello everybody. Welcome to Mozilla AI live stream event. So in the next couple of weeks, we're going to do a series of how Mozilla is using AI to solve everyday problems, and especially with a focus on responsible AI and trustworthy AI. So is on the product team at Fakespot, and Fakespot is a shopping AI. Fakespot was recently acquired. Oh, good morning.
Hello.
Hello. We just got started, so welcome. So Fakespot just was acquired earlier this year by Mozilla, and is going to be as part of the Mozilla suite for helping create a more trustworthy shopping experience. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Chris, and Chris can talk about the product itself and how AI is used generally in the shopping experience. So, Chris.
All right, thank you very much. Cool. So I'm just going to do a little walkthrough of the product and what it is, and kind of share what we're working on right now. Let me share my screen. Make sure I get it correct here. All right, am I actually sharing a screen? It doesn't tell me I am.
I don't see your screen, but I did hear a interesting and promising sound.
All right, we'll share an app then, see if that works. It says the app doesn't have permission to record your screen. I don't want to restart the app. I might need to restart the app though, just to give it permission. I'll be right back.
Okay, see you later, alligator.
All right.
How are you doing, Sen?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, thanks for you and Hebers. What's your first name?
Mike.
Mike, yeah, I recall that. So yeah, thanks for joining our first event to kick off Innovation Week.
For sure. No, I'm super curious what y'all are up to. And actually, I think, was it Sen? It might have been you that I was chatting with about how you are doing what was it? How you're generating questions for
Oh yeah, it was me.
Yeah. I'm super interested in that. I was trying to do something similar in an app I'm prototyping, and the questions were sometimes good and sometimes like no matter what I tried with prompting, I noticed that the LLM really wanted to pull from like the questions from the beginning and end of the context that I was giving it. Which
I mean, that's a known like kind of like known issue about this LLM. Like they emphasize the beginning and the end of the context you submit to them. That's like I've seen a study about it. That it's called missing middles or something. So the middle part of the context is losing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Have you found ways around that, or is that something you struggle with as well?
For us, it's like it's less of an issue because we do searching through the vector database, right? So our context is kind of limited. It's not like going to be a huge context for the LLM. It's a pretty simple task for LLM in our case.
Mm-hmm.
And also we are dealing with reviews, right? Reviews are usually short.
That's true. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. So it would be able to get all of that in context, no problem.
Right. But I do see there have been studies on the and that the pattern that you noticed, it's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep digging away at it, see if I can crack it. One thing I've been trying to do is like shuffle
Yes.
the documents that I'm using and kind of assign score like random. There's a method called I forget what they called it, like rad ratted or something like that. Anyways, you assign like a sort of an arbitrary score to things, and that helps. And then you pull from those scores and create like a subset of documents for it to answer from.
I see.
So I'm gonna try that and kind of benchmark it, see how it does.
Yeah, I mean, we can sync offline.
Yeah.
And-
It looks like yeah, the Andy's back.
Sharing screen. Apologies for the delay. We're up and running now. So just to give an overview of the product. So Fakespot was started when our founder many years ago got a supplements online that he had bought that had great reviews, and as it turned out, they were terrible. It was sawdust, and so he created an engine that actually could analyze reviews and see when there were fake reviews. And so that was kind of the beginning. But these days, so this is the Fakespot homepage. You can come in here and you can use the analyze bar to type in any URL. So if you're on one of the sites we support, which is Amazon, Best Buy, Walmart, Sephora, and we actually now also support TripAdvisor, Yelp, and Flipkart. So you could type in any of these URLs in here or paste them in here and then analyze. That's one way to do it. We also have extensions for all the major browsers. I'm going to share. I actually don't have the extension installed on Firefox, and I'll share why in a minute. But basically, if you have the extension installed and you are looking at an Amazon page, we will put in there the reliability of the reviews on every single product. And then as you go to the product, we give you a little bit more information. Take a second to load here. So we'll tell you whether the reviews can be believed or not. So in this case, sort of a mix of good and bad reliability on the reviews. We also look at the seller that's selling the product, and we tell you whether or not that person is reliable or not. So in this case, this seller does have a good track record. And then you can click here to go to more information. In this case, this one needs to be reanalyzed, but basically we tell you pros and cons. So in this case, these are coming directly from the reviews that we consider reliable, and we actually have, this is generated. This is not directly quotes from the reviews. This is generated as the way that it would be written in a review by our engine. And then new.
I think you are looking at a couple of different screens here, because the only screen we see is the fakespot.com/analyzer home screen. So it seems like I can kind of see our mouse moving around and clicking on other things that we don't see on the screen.
Keeping up with me?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's just sharing the wrong screen.
That is where I was at, but all right.
It's weird that we could see your mouse, but on top of the wrong screen. Wrong screen. There you go. I think
Yeah,
that's it.
now we see something. Echo dot.
Keep my eye on it to make sure it's keeping up with me, because I have a few different things to show here. Cool. So we actually just are in testing mode. We haven't fully released it yet, but now you can actually ask questions of our chatbot. So basically, you can come in here and ask any question. And our new AI chatbot engine will go and look at the reviews for this product from actual real people, and it will create an answer based on those reviews. So this one can be loud, has bass. Our kid's scared of this. some users report their children love it, while others report it can be difficult to set up. So this will go and look at the reviews, and Sen could tell you in more detail how it works. But basically, you get answers to any question. So rather than ask a question on the Amazon page, all right, hopefully that showed up. It looks like I'm sharing still. It will go and look at reviews and come up with an answer and tell you an answer in natural language. So you don't have to actually go and read through all the reviews or ask a question on the Amazon page. You can get a good answer here based on actual reviews. I did want to share, let's see if this keeps up. Within the Firefox browser, even if you don't have the extension installed now, you can have this review checker. We're testing this right now, where basically it gives you some of the information that you saw on the page that we had earlier, just telling you how reliable the reviews are, giving the adjusted rating. So the adjusted rating is basically takes the Amazon rating and then it adjusts it based on how reliable the reviews are. So in this case, you see this has a 4.5 star Amazon rating, but because we consider the reviews pretty unreliable, it is a low score. We give it an adjusted rating of 2.5 stars. It kind of tells you whether or not you can feel good about purchasing this product.
And what are the factors that go into the reliability scoring?
There are a lot of factors. That question comes up a lot, and it's like, first of all, there's some secret sauce there. We don't want people to know exactly how we're scoring these things, because then they would be able to kind of get around it, like people do with like the Google, search engine. But there are a bunch of different models, and probably will tell you exactly how many. But basically, that we put it through to judge the reliability of the reviews. We also do things like look at the reviewers that are providing the reviews and look at other reviews that they've done. So stuff that like you could actually do it yourself, but it would take you a long time to do it. And we also kind of keep up to date with the latest and greatest with the way that people are trying to scam the system. So it is a question that comes up often, but we can't give you a perfect answer, but it's lots of different things that we're looking at, and we're kind of summing it up with this single grade here.
Gotcha.
The other thing we have in this review checker sidebar is highlights. So this was something that we've had for a while. It actually predated the pros and cons thing. So this one's not telling you pro or con. This is just basically taking little snippets of reviews, so things that are coming up often, and telling you things that they're seeing in the reviews about the product. So in this case, it has a couple of things about quality, something about the packaging. We have a few other categories that show up, and basically this shows up only if there are things that are coming up frequently. All right.
So, sorry, question on that. So,
Yep.
should I save my questions, by the way?
No,
I'm
kind of done going through the paces. So just to let you know before you give the question, we also have mobile apps. Currently, we have 2 mobile apps on iOS and 2 on Android. We're probably going to consolidate those in the future, but basically anywhere that you're shopping that we support, you can share that product into the using your mobile device and get a Fakespot analysis for that page as well. So that's the gamut of things we have. So sorry, go ahead with your question.
Oh yeah, thank you. No, and sorry to interject there. Yeah, it's just I'm fascinated by kind of like how you implement these things, and I guess one question was like the highlights. It looked like it was like a specific quotation from a specific review, but somehow I guess you're comparing the reviews for similarity to each other and then selecting one from that. Is that kind of like the approach there?
Yeah, so I think that it's not going to be a direct quote from the review.
Oh, I see.
That's another thing that we frequently get asked is like, if you're looking at pros and cons, somebody might want to go and see like, where are the reviews that you combine to make this pro? We have talked about doing that for legal reasons. We have not done that to this point, but we're always looking to make this more transparent and more helpful. So that is something we're thinking about.
Makes sense.
Any other questions? I think that's kind of the end of the show and tell, but I can kind of go and show anything else that anyone has any questions about or wants to see.
Chris, I'm kind of curious if you like lifted the lid on the product a little bit. Like, how do you think about like AI in the shopping experience in general, and what is like the kind of short-term goal of Fakespot, I'd say in the next 6 months.
Right
This
on.
is keep in mind this is a pretty technical audience, and they're working on their own generative AI projects. So yeah, you can be as technical as
So I'm going to give you the product manager answer. If there's a more technical one, so I could help out. But I would say that we don't actually think about things in terms of, hey, we want to do an AI thing. We think about problems that our users are having. So in that way, I think you mentioned we were acquired by Mozilla back in April. Our vision and what we're trying to do aligns very well with Mozilla, because we're trying to help people shop online and eventually sort of trust everything online. So we're kind of thinking in that vein. AI is the tool that we use to do it. So basically, we are listening to our users all the time and things that they're telling us are problems with the shopping experience, and trying to figure out, AI is often a tool that we use, but it's not that we're trying to do AI things. We're trying to solve problems.
Yeah, thanks. Mike, MC, Sen, I'm curious to how you guys think about this product, in terms of like Mike, I know you're creating something that generates questions. Like any links that you see in what you're working on, and I mean Fakespot spots generative AI that's used in, I guess, like not good ways, and so I'm wondering if you think of any similarities or differences with like how your projects can be used in good ways and not be exploited.
That's a good question. I'm trying to think of how the thing that I'm building could be exploited. Certainly, like what it does is it pulls it transcribes audio like podcasts, and uses those transcripts to make them like to enable you to ask questions about audio files, and like jump to the specific spot in a podcast where that thing is being discussed.
Oh, very cool.
And I mean, it's kind of interesting, like the exploits aside, which I could probably theorize on. I think what's come up for me recently, which I'm curious about for Fakespot, is with the latest feature announced in OpenAI's keynote. I think a lot of the functionality that I was building was just sort of now able to be accomplished to some degree directly through these like personal GPTs or whatever that
I think
OpenAI
that's true for a lot of people that have been working on these things, right?
Yeah, right. So in terms of what you're doing though, it seems like you have found this niche that is like safe from that. But I wonder if you have anything to say about that, and like your roadmap or like concerns you have about the sort of your direction versus the direction that these dominant foundational models and companies are taking.
Yeah, I think from the short-term roadmap, what we're thinking about is taking what we have here and making it easier for people to access and maybe broader. So you don't have to be on a product page to ask a question about a product. Maybe you would ask a question about a category of product. So that's in the short term, that's what we're thinking. And I think that we have sort of a captive audience here. It's probably a little bit more usable for the average person to be able to see this right where they're shopping. So I think that's what we're looking to do. And I think like, so this is very, very early in this Fakespot chat that we have going. So we're trying to figure out all the ways that we can make it sort of more natural, give better answers. There are certainly questions that we've seen, because we allow, as you can see, thumbs up and thumbs down on every response that people get. So we've seen some questions where folks have asked things about the product that we hadn't necessarily anticipated. So I think we're going to be working on making this better in the short term, but also make it easier to access and kind of maybe expand the reach in the way it's used.
Cool. Maybe to that point, like at some point kind of early on in my time here at Mozilla, I was looking into values-based shopping. So like is there something we could create that allow people to shop on sites like Amazon, but like for products that are consistent with their values, whatever those might be? Like it might be sustainability, or it might be privacy, uh
Yeah.
might
Yeah.
be local. Like, is that something you've thought about at all, or is that something that actually Fakespot maybe can already help with? Or
Yeah, it is. So one of the things that we've thought about, so we have the review grade as kind of the central metric that people are looking at when they're looking at a product. We have had conversations and we've done some testing with users around maybe having a product score that kind of gives people an overall, like, will I be happy if I buy this thing? One of the things that comes up a lot when we have that discussion is that there's several components to what would make a product be more or less safe to buy. One of the things that has come up often is that exact thing, is like, is this a company that's considered good or a company that's considered bad? I think the caveat there is like, how do you draw that line in a way that does enough for the user but doesn't overly penalize companies
Mhm.
that maybe do most of their business in one arena and maybe have a couple of things. So I think that would be the question there. But I think there is sort of demand and requests out there for that kind of a thing. That the companies that do good is one thing. Another one that comes up a lot is just like defects and Better Business Bureau type complaints. Having
Yeah.
those be kind of explicit.
Yeah, and is that something where like you would source, like would you train this model on those sorts of like the Better Business Bureau data or something like that to get
Yeah.
it to be able to answer
Yeah,
that?
I think that's another thing that comes up frequently because parts of the model penalize certain things, and we don't allow people to customize right now whether how strict or punitive they want the reliability score to be. But that has come up in questions from users as well as maybe I don't care if like, so the fact that somebody has like gotten a product as part of one of those programs where like you get the product and then you have to review it. Those review grades tend to skew, as you would imagine, much more positive than the real reviews. So that's something that we can discount in the model, but people have asked like, hey, maybe I want to trust those reviews, stuff like that. So that is something we could do. It's not something we're planning on doing anytime in the short term.
Maybe without those controls, then is there a way that you can like a user could use their own sort of home-baked prompt engineering within this text box here to accomplish the same thing, or even potentially subvert the model in a way that you're like concerned about?
That's a good question. I mean, certainly some of the things that we've seen people asking, and we only get to see what people are asking if they give a thumbs up or thumbs down. So we are concerned about privacy, so we're careful about that. But we have seen questions where people are kind of trying to get at what in the model is making our grade be low. So we do have to be careful about that.
Wow, interesting. What do you think the motivation behind that is? Just curiosity, or is it like somebody trying to do the same thing, or?
I think at this point where we're not fully 100% rolled out yet, I would assume it's the curiosity factor.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I think once we're rolled out, we do have to be careful of that kind of stuff. And I think we probably could come up with just some canned answers around how we do grading and stuff like that, which we haven't really done to this point, but we can certainly do that, so to kind of get around that kind of thing.
Meaning, like, if it detects that like a certain avenue of questioning, it can source the canned response versus like the AI generated response.
Right.
Gotcha. I'm going to stop talking for a minute.
All right.
Make sure nobody else asks questions.
Yeah, it's riveting. Thanks, Mike, for your questions.
Any other questions anyone has?
Yeah, if you can also talk about some of your personal projects or anything you're working on, because we have this space, and I know you guys are all in the same on the same boat in terms of like tweaking around all the new
Right.
developments.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious, Sen, from just more of like the technological, infrastructural side of things, like if you had anything to add to kind of like what you're doing or like what stands out to you.
Um,
Any particular like challenges that you're still trying to crack?
yeah, I mean, there are still a lot of challenges. Even for the chat, part of the reason that we are not rolling out 100% was like there are still some corner cases that we've seen from the feedback we collect, um, that is either outputting some effectual stuff or just there's some common issues with the LLM, right? So those cases we would need to take care of, and also in terms of since we self-host all of the services for Fakespot Chat, we're not calling any APIs. So for us, it's like
Mm.
the infrastructure, the deployment has been a huge challenge for us, to make a stable service, handle like thousands or even millions of users. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
we have been we actually this model itself was like developed a couple months ago, but we spent quite a long time to get it to a state that is stable, that's not breaking down, those kind of things.
Yeah, I just, like I built my prototype essentially to accommodate one user and then was like, I'll figure out how to support multiple users. So I'm very early on in that. I finally started implementing like a queue and these sort of like background workers for tasks like transcription because it takes a long time. Um,
Yes.
but it's hard and that's with basically two people maybe using it at the same time. So, where are you hosting?
We are hosting it on GCP.
Okay, yeah, I figured.
um,
Um, what sort of things are you implementing to be able to allow for that scale or like say an influx of users or something like that?
the queue that you just mentioned, it's like we also have that,
Mhm.
to handle like background tasks, those kind of things. Yeah, you're right. If the long running task, it can be a challenge. And also we have, I mean, just typical stuff like Kubernetes auto scaling. We have built in some monitoring system, those kind of things. Yeah.
Gotcha. One thing I noticed with my app was that like I'm just deploying it on Heroku because I'm not a I'm not an infrastructure guy at all. And I know Heroku, so I do that. But like because it's like an ephemeral file server and because it has some pretty low like memory limits, I was when I tried to do things concurrently, I was often hitting those memory limits. Which was helpful because one, just to see like how compute intensive this stuff can be.
Yes.
Um, and also just to force me to be more efficient with all of my logic, my coding logic. Are you thinking about those things like sort of how to make things faster or like use the smallest model possible or things like that? Like
Yes, all the time. 'Cause, one like infrastructure is one way of handling, better infrastructure is one way of handling traffic. Another is just optimization of your logic, right? So
Mhm.
the less that you provide, you hit the language model, probably the better latency or throughput you will get.
So are there certain things that you are able to cache so you don't have to run them past the model if they're similar enough or anything like that?
Yeah, you can use some tools called semantic cache. So when user asks a question, if another user asks a question, but it's not exactly the same, but they are similar in semantic way, that you'll be able to pull from the existing result you cached somewhere, right? You can do that.
How do you? Because I would wonder if the running that comparison was also and was kind of time or compute intensive, but it sounds like it's not. How do you manage that? Like the analysis, the
It's not
similarity?
as it will it will involve some sort of like calling the embedding, those kind of things, but it won't be like as intensive as running a full query, right? So
Right. So
yeah,
it's sort of like it's a retrieval augmented.
right. It will be less intense. You don't need to hit the retrieval part, right? And then you don't need to hit the language generation part. So you probably just do some similarity check. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. I think I am actually doing like doing it with retrieval, so it sounds like I don't need to be for the stuff that I just started trying to like cache the transcripts and cache like questions about specific.
Oh, I see.
Got
Got it.
So cool.
Yeah. Thank you for the
Cool.
questions.
Yeah. Thanks for the questions, Mike and Sin. I'm glad that you guys are here as well as Chris.
Right.
I know that Chris has to go at the half-hour mark, and we're here. So let's go ahead and wrap up. Thank you so much again, Chris, for coming in and talking about Fakespot, and Mike and Sin. Thanks for the riveting questions about different applications that you guys are working on. So this is a series we are showcasing various AI projects within Mozilla, and we'll have another one next week. And we'll have some not next week. Next week is Thanksgiving, so the week afterwards. And then we'll have Innovation Week in December. So I hope I'll see you guys again soon.
Right. Thank you for having me.
Cool.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Yeah.
You
Thanks,
guys,
everyone. Bye.